9 billion more tons of carbon pollution will be in the air. When she takes her first steps, wildfires will have burned millions more acres she could have explored. By the time a child born today goes to college, it may be too late to leave them the world we promised. Our window to act on climate change is like watching them grow up. We blink and we miss it.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Okay. It's 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order, please. Am I on? No. My voice is loud enough, but that's better. I'm still not on there.
Are you on, tap it?
I
Yeah,
am
you're
now.
on.
I am now.
Just get right up to the microphone.
I know you're an expert at this. Just a moment.
Trying to help people out.
Well,
Talking a smarmy radio voice.
let's get this off to the right. Oh, there's the glasses. Okay, the first item is roll call, please.
Blish,
Here.
Schnelly,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Spano,
Here.
Mulder,
Here.
Mar,
Here.
Holder,
Here.
Modjeski,
Here.
and Smith is excused tonight.
All right, thank you. Move on to approval of minutes of November 3rd, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Randy, second. Give it to Larry. Mr. Marr. Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public appearances. Anybody here that wants to talk about anything that's not, I guess, either on the agenda or not off the agenda? Anybody from the public that wants to discuss anything other than, I shouldn't say other, anything you want to discuss, I guess.
We will have the public hearing.
The public hearings we'll have, and those will be the appropriate times to ask your questions if you are in fact here for those public hearings. Nothing? Okay, we're gonna move on then. Communication, miscellaneous business, nothing. We're gonna move on to new business. The first item is postponed for a public hearing. The next item is public 7D. Public hearing to discuss and consider recommendation of village board for a general development plan at 221 Haler Court. The applicant is Pivotal Point Acupuncture and Wellness, LLC. At this time, we'll open the meeting, or open the public hearing, please. Staff report on it.
All right, thanks, Greg. So just a little bit of background here. Fran Anderson here is the owner of Pivotal Point Acupuncture and Wellness, and she's currently located downtown, is looking to move her business to her home. As you know, home occupation use is allowed by right in all of our single-family zoning districts, including hers, which is SR4. There are some limits with home occupation with the intent to make sure that we don't have businesses within residential neighborhoods that impact kind of the quality of life and that residential feel of a neighborhood. Some of those things include limiting, vehicles. Someone had a construction business or something run out of their home that could be disruptive to neighbors. Limiting size of signage, hours, things like that. Some of the other rules for home occupation that Fran is asking for some flexibility on, and hence the reason for the GDP request is there's a limit currently of 30% of the finished square footage area of the home to be dedicated for the business, and based on the floor plan she's provided, she's just over that at 35%, and that includes living room being used as a waiting area, and then a restroom being used for patient use. And then there's also a limit for no more than one non-resident employee. So if you had people that worked for you in the home, family business, that would be allowed to have any of those residents part of the business, but anyone that's not living in the home is limited to one person there at a time. So currently, Fran has two part-time employees and one full-time employee, and she can explain a little bit more about kind of their hours and when everybody is there. But she would also be looking for some flexibility to have more than one non-resident employee there at a time. Just want to clarify too that she would still be allowed to operate her business from her home if she adhered to all of the requirements for home occupation. It's just these two items that she's requesting flexibility from. So I'll hand it over to Fran to provide a little bit more information about her property and how the business would be run out of the home.
Sounds good. I'm just going to start with some comments, just a kind of a introduction, just to say hi and just give you a descriptor of who I am. So good evening. My name is Francisca Anderson, and I own Pivotal Point Acupuncture and Wellness Center, LLC. I'm asking for the variance, as we talked about, and we'll describe that a little bit further. I've been in my clinic space in downtown Oregon since September 2008, and I've quietly and proudly served the southern tier of Madison communities for nearly 15 years. During that time, I've also drawn people to Oregon from all over Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois, and have done so by word-of-mouth referrals and very little advertising. However, the vast majority of my patients come from Oregon and the surrounding communities. According to my research, I could not find any other acupuncturist south of Madison, so that's the big draw to my clinic. My practice is considered low volume when compared to other acupuncturists, some people seeing 50 people a day. I see anywhere from 3 to 5 people a day right now, and I like to focus on patients. So I'm not a high volume person, I'm in it for taking care of people and their needs right now, because I'm the one who everybody comes to see, who they've been through the Western medical system, they're struggling, and they need somebody else to give them answers. So I'm the one that spends a lot of time with each individual patient, and they could be in my clinic for anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. So just with focus on one person. For at least the last 5 years, I've been actively researching and considering other locations, just keeping my eye out, other options including building a facility to create a new space for the clinic. My focus and intent has always been to stay south of Madison. I've informally surveyed patients about location considerations and found that it's a hard no for going into Madison because everybody likes coming into Oregon. It's an easy drive. If most people are coming from McFarland too, McFarland, Verona, Stoughton, so it's an easier drive for them. And I have a lot of elderly people that come who don't want to deal with the traffic in Madison. As a small business owner, I've yet to find a location that fits my needs clinically and financially too, for my needs. As a small business owner, I've had to work through my fair share of difficulties, including breast cancer, the loss of my parents, multiple surgeries and injuries, and the COVID pandemic. I have done my very best to continue to support my patients through all of this, many times putting others first to continue to serve in spite of my own personal experiences or circumstances. Many different kinds of stressors have come my way, and I've been able to pivot, and apparently in keeping with my name, Pivotal Point. So, however, with COVID, the clinic was shut down for 2.5 months, and with reopening, it's been kind of a slow bleed of money. My SBA loan currently stands at about $85,000, plus all the other loans that I've had outstanding before that. Inflation has increased my interest rates, so less is going to principal payments, and I've struggled with the right weight of all of this. For just the financial reasons alone, I plan to move my practice into my home because I must decrease my fixed expenses, shrink my business plan a little bit here, and reorganize. By doing so, I'll be able to keep my employees and pay down my debts and reset with your help. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready for questions. Hopefully it gives you a little idea about what I do.
Nothing yet, I guess. Anybody? Anything?
So can I
Go ahead,
so
yeah. Absolutely.
Fran, I just want to clarify. You said typically you have 3 to 5
per day.
patients
Three
per day.
3 to 8.
3
3
to
to
8
8
per day.
Forgive me if I
Okay.
said 5. I said
Okay.
it should be 3 to 8. Currently, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
I'd have the
Yes,
question, how much personal use of your driveways and street frontage, besides your own personal, are there other people living in the family that are driving cars? And
I'm by myself. I park in my garage, and I've got a pretty sizable driveway where I've got 3 across at the top of the driveway near my garage. I've got an extra pad to the side so I can actually get 3 across. And then I do have additional space for 2 more after that, but I'm figuring if I can use the 3 across, thank you for asking about the parking. If I can use the 3 across and have, say my employees park on Soden and walk across my lawn, and so I want to keep Haler Court clear, because it's a fairly small street, and I've been thinking about this stuff a lot, because I want to be a good neighbor, and I want to take care of I pride myself in being pretty thoughtful and well prepared for things like this, so I've been thinking about all of this, and I'm putting plans in place for the parking situation.
how many clients would you have at the peak time?
The most I would have would be 3, because it would be just contained to the 3 rooms, you know, so, yeah.
Okay.
There may be, no, I don't think there's gonna be anybody else. That's at 100% capacity, because you know, that would be all 3 rooms filled. And I don't turn over a lot of, it's a slow turnover, so it's about every half an hour someone's maybe exiting, so.
So, to follow up on Larry's question.
Sure.
Your application says 1 full-time employee, 2 to 3 part-time. At any given time, how many employees would be on site?
Be the full-timer for sure, and at least one of the part-timers. There might be a time where there could be 2 part-timers there as well. I'm not thinking that's gonna be a usual thing. I'm trying to make sure that I have, you know, just even for schedules, for the room schedule and everything like that, I wanna make sure that I don't have a lot of crossover with other employees too.
I'm empathetic to what position that you're in, and I'm grateful for you trying to work to stay in Oregon.
I really want to.
My question, when I read the application, went to accessibility.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with you running a clinic out of your house. I don't. My mind went to the people that come to your facility have disabilities just because. And I don't know your house. I don't know if the driveway is sloped. I'm assuming from the plan that I saw there was a couple of steps up.
1.
There's 1? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm building a ramp for that.
Okay.
So.
Things like that, or even, is there a thought about maybe a grab bar or something in the bathroom?
All of that's already in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have handicap accessible everything. I'm adding additional grab bar on one side for the toilet for sure. I've got a very large sink for the bathroom. All of it's ranch, so everything's on one level. And actually with I've got very little grade. It's maybe a little bit of a slope. It's not much at all comparatively to other things. And the ramp would be just the 1 stoop up, and then I'm taking off my screen door, so it's just 1 easy come into the front door, and then they're in the reception area, and it's a very quick walk down into the bedrooms. And it would be actually a lot less like transit time for them at my house versus the municipal lot. Because sometimes there's so much parking issues here and there during the day. It actually would be easier for people to get into my house with dedicated parking, basically. It would be my own parking versus having to compete with any other businesses. So it's easier for my patients that have mobility issues.
With the proposed addition, then that'll take up all of your garage space, or will you still have a garage?
I'll have a garage. I'll still have my garage. So it's gonna be off to the side. I have a screened-in porch to the right of the garage. That would be coming off. And then I would be reconfiguring that and just add on whatever is allowed. And because this is a temporary solution to get me reset again financially, and especially in the era of like the inflation that's coming right now, I'm trying to be really proactive about just trying to like be responsible fiscally, come back a little bit, reset, and then I can move. You know, I'm willing to do this for a short time. I don't want to necessarily surrender my house for even 5 years. I want this to be a short-term, use, and then eventually move into an addition, and then get my house back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we'll move on to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep, no, I was just saying, we'll move on to public hearing,
Yeah.
and then we can come back for more
Yes,
questions
we'll come back
and
with more
comments.
questions later on. So we want to get the public comments. So is there anybody from the public that wants to
So Greg, I have a few that.
You have a few? Okay, thank you.
So the first one.
Yes.
Regarding pivotal point is Jerry Ballard.
Good evening, gentlemen. Most of you I know. I do not know Matthew.
But
Nice
you
to
still
meet
have
you,
to
man.
give us your name and your address.
I'm getting to that, Greg. My name is Jerry Bollig. I live at 570 Scott Street in Oregon. I was a member of the village board for 20 years, and I'm currently the Dane County supervisor for this area. So again, I'm here tonight because I'm a long-term patient of Fran's. She's always been able to help me, which is not always easy to do, I think, sometimes. But I find her to be very gifted. And she, if there are conditions on her CUP, I have no doubt that she'll live up to those conditions. The main reason I'm here is because Fran helps a lot of people. And by being here, if I can help Fran help more people, I'm all for that. So thank you for your time. And thanks for your service, by the way. I don't miss sitting in those chairs.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, for the next person, I have Dawn. And if you could state your name and address also, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dawn Adamani. I live at 667 North Oak Street. And I just want to say that I admire Franny and her field of work and what she does. But I do have some objections, concerns, and some questions. And actually, just from what she has stated, it kind of contradicts what's in what was mailed to the neighbors. She says that she's just trying to get on her feet, but in her proposal, she is saying that the addition is for permanent use as a clinic. As the neighbor, and I can see her back of her house from my backyard, and I just feel like we're kind of asking for, we're kind of turning the neighborhood into something more commercial. And there is an empty lot on the corner of Main, Soden, and Netherwood. And we don't really know what the plan is for that. I've heard rumors, duplexes, a cul-de-sac in there, etc. But a business, probably, which I can actually see that lot from my backyard also. So anyway, I'm just thinking, she says there won't be many cars, but I question as her business grows more and more that it will just kind of ruin our quiet residential vibe. And I don't live in that cul-de-sac, but it is very quiet now. I just think there's going to be, my other issue, my other talking point is operating problems, too many people coming and going. Currently on a quiet cul-de-sac is not going to make it quiet anymore. I see safety problems because there is no public sidewalk in front of her house, and in the cul-de-sac in general. So if people are parking on the street, don't choose to use her driveway, they're going to park in the street. To me, that she also proposed that she was going to have up to 4 to 5 employees, which is definitely 4 to 5 employee vehicles, and then the client seeking treatment. The street problems that I see is I think the cul-de-sac doesn't even have drainage, and that corner there that she lives on has very poor drainage, and the water always puddles up and freezes over there. But the snowplow's getting in and out with cars on the street cleaner, garbage trucks, emergency vehicles. I just see that all being a problem. I don't know, I just think this is gonna set precedents for other people to do the same thing in their homes and in residential areas, and I don't know. I moved to Oregon for the small town feel, and I kinda like to be like that, because I moved from Madison because it was too nuts there. And I've lived here 22 years. This year will be 23 years. And I don't know, I just like the small town vibe here, so. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I had asked about sidewalk cost, if a sidewalk had to be put in, and who would be responsible for the cost of that. So is it going to be us residents or taxpayers, or will she be responsible for that herself? So anyway, those are my questions and or comments and concerns.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The next person we have is Ellen Evans.
Hi, thanks for having this meeting, and I appreciate all your work too. I am Ellen Evans, and I live on Haler Court, 241 Haler Court. So I am a resident of Haler Court, and I'm an employee of Fran's. I've watched Fran struggle during the COVID shutdown before I was an employee of hers, and she worked hard to try to continue to pay her employee while her clinic was closed, so I really respected that. And now I've seen how diligently she's really tried to consider any effect her home business could have on her neighbors and her clients. I know she is, and she'll continue to be open to listening to any questions that might arise now or later. She's really open to anybody coming to talk to her, and is prepared to talk to them about their concerns. As a neighbor, I don't personally have any concerns about how this might affect my neighborhood. I moved to Oregon for the same reason as the previous speaker. I enjoy a quiet neighborhood. I don't think it's going to have any detrimental effect on the neighborhood, as I've seen her plan and discussed it with her. And as an employee, I see this as a good business move for Pivotal Point, her clients, and for Oregon. Does anyone have any questions for me as a resident of Haler Court or as an employee of Fran's?
Not this time, no. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And this is the last form I have for this topic, but a few people came in faster, so Danette.
Hi, my name is Danette Pyre, and I'm just going to read this. I'll go quicker. My name is Danette Pyre, and I live at 265 Haler Court. Franny and I have been neighbors and friends for a number of years, and I really would like to keep it that way. Unfortunately, I do not think that her business belongs in our neighborhood for many reasons. First of all, as I read the plans, I could see the possibility of 10 or more vehicles being parked on or around Haler Court or on Soden Drive. Haler Court is short and a short and narrow road, and we need to maintain access for utility service, delivery trucks, lawn care services, etc., to meet our personal needs. And more importantly, our emergency vehicles need to have ample access. The extra cars from her business will only add to the congestion that we have, especially during the spring, summer, and fall months. And what are the plans for the leased property, and what future impact will that have on our congested roads already? The extra traffic, which would create safety and liability issues for any of her patients, especially her less mobile patients, as they are exiting or entering their vehicles, and for those of us residents using Haler Court for our sidewalk. The road is our sidewalk. If cars round the corner from Soden onto Haler Court, there may not be anywhere for us to go, or for those patients of hers getting in and out of the vehicles. Additionally, if permission is granted to her, for her to go through with her plans, will precedents be set for other neighbors wanting to do something similar? Where do you draw the line? How do you be fair to one and not fair to another? There are two, like, beauticians right across the road from her, for example, and what if they want to bring their business into their homes? Do you say yes to Franny and no to them? Where do you draw the line? What will the impact of rezoning and the construction have? I don't understand the whole rezoning thing, but what does, where will the construction vehicles go if there are already 10 more extra vehicles parked in the area? If she decides to move and can no longer live in the house for some reason, the addition will remain, and the house would probably be sold to someone with business aspirations if it is rezoned. And what unknown impositions would their business bring to our quaint neighborhood? Changing the appearance of the house, I feel, will devalue the residential appeal from our area and could make our houses less appealing to future buyers knowing that there is a business in the area. There are other options available to Franny. She mentioned that there is little available nearby. As long as there are some options available, I feel that she should use them. If Oregon does not have what she wants right now, she should look to other communities, move to the country, subdivide her business, or regroup later as something comes up in Oregon. Home visits are also an option. Franny is a wonderful neighbor, and it hurts me deep inside to take the stance that I have on this matter. It is not a position that I ever wanted to be put in. I have talked with other neighbors who have mixed feelings on this matter also. We want Franny, her employees, and her business to do well, but have reservations about the impact that her business will have on our neighborhood. We are a residential neighborhood, and I would like to see it remain that way. While her proposed plans would resolve her problems, they could create permanent problems for the rest of us. They will be here today, or will not be here today and gone tomorrow, but be here today and here tomorrow and forevermore. Other options are available and need to be explored. Thank you for allowing to take this time to speak to you. I did submit today a larger copy, like a 4-page version of this. This is very abbreviated. So do you have any questions of me?
Not this time, thank you.
All right, thank you so very much.
We have Vera Lee Gregg here to speak, right?
Hi, my name is Vera Lee Gregg. Do you need my address?
Yeah, you better, for the record, yes.
5520 Williamsburg Road in Oregon, Wisconsin. Got hit by the tornado in '92, still here. I'm a patient of Fran, and I have been for several years. And as Jerry mentioned, she has helped me tremendously with a very bad back and a very bad neck. So I want her to stay in Oregon. And after 3 years with Fran, I know that the parking issue, she would tell us clients, patients, that we should use her driveway. And we would all accommodate that. So that eliminates the parking on the side of the street. And I think when she means for staff, she's talking about herself full-time and Kim, the receptionist, office administrator, full-time. And there are 2 other people that come and go with different schedules. I believe they've worked out their parking issues by alternating days that they'll be coming into the office there. And the last thing, I have never bumped into another patient while I'm in with Fran. When I come out, I meet with Fran or Kim, but it's not a highway of people moving in and out of the care rooms. So I know that would not be a crowd that would be there. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts as a patient and now as a friend of Fran, and I hope you'll consider her asking for more people than just one in her home.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have one more here with Heather.
Hello, I'm Heather Hafen. I live on 258 Haler Court. I'm also a patient of Fran's. And I have kind of a unique situation because I already have a home business in my home. I'm a chiropractor. So I see 50% of my people in my home office and 50% in my office in Edgerton. So I would be kind of the same thing that Fran is requesting. I know she's requesting for it to be her full-time business, but like the previous person said as well, is just the nature of her business. It's a quiet business, and it's not a constant coming and going of people. You know, one person might arrive and they stay for an hour or two, like Fran said, and then they kind of stagger coming and going. So it's not a high traffic business. And she does have enough spots in her driveway for all the patients that would be seen there at one time. So my patients, you know, they either park in my driveway or they park in front of my house, and it's never been a problem for anybody. It's never disrupted, you know, people's abilities to come and go, even when the garbage trucks come. So I am fully in support of Fran moving her business to our neighborhood. I think it's a great thing, and I don't think it would be disruptive to our business or to our Haler Court at all. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more here.
Yep, that's fine.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Chelsea Patterson. I live at 242 Haler Court. We're a small cul-de-sac, and many of us are here tonight. It was not my intention to speak. I don't really like speaking publicly, so forgive me. But in my experience, when you get around people, things can get messy. Things get complicated when you have people in your lives. You have people who park a certain way, or people with a dog you don't like, or people with music that's too loud, or that person drives faster than I like, or these people put signs in their yard, or whatever. I think it's just part of human nature. You also get to know that you have a benefit of having a community around you. My husband and I are probably the introverts in the cul-de-sac. We were never really typically those people to come to the potluck and all of this, and somehow our cul-de-sac has gotten us to come out of our shells, and we have found a community. And suddenly I have people that I can text when I leave town and saying, hey, if there's a big parcel on my front porch, would you mind grabbing it for me? I have people who bring my trash cans in when I'm out of town without asking first. I have people to text if I need aid, and I'm here to help them. If they need that, it's a community. And I walk my gigantic dog and our two little girls right down the middle of our street. And we always, we watch out for cars, but I also have a cul-de-sac to teach my girls, you check both ways before you go down the street. It's a quiet cul-de-sac. We do like that it's a quiet cul-de-sac, but we also have learned a lot about the nature of community. And Fran is a huge contributor toward that. She's always been welcoming, and I believe that after learning her nature and her personality as I have, learning how she is there and how she handles people, how she's devoted her life towards the betterment of others, even often at the expense of herself, I wanted to speak to her character and say that I believe if she is applying for this, that she will do so within her character, and she will do so as considerately as she possibly can. She's doing this to help more people and not to come in and tear everything up and basically have a 7-Eleven on our street corner. I don't worry about that. There will possibly be some inconveniences, but there are inconveniences when you are with people. And any inconvenience that we may have to endure, I believe she's worth it. Because someone else could move in there, and who knows? Who knows what they're like? Who knows if we like them, if we don't like them, if they're this or they're that? There's always something with people. It's part of community. And I believe that what Fran offers far outweighs any possible inconvenience of what she's asking, and I can say that because of her character. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for everybody. Appreciate the input. Next, we'll go on to Planning Commission comments. Anybody have any questions, comments about this? Go ahead.
Elise, I think you said this at the beginning, but anybody can have a home business in their home, right?
Right. There are quite a few that are already operating. We have hair salons, chiropractors, massage therapists. Obviously, a lot of people are working from home. It's a little bit different to have people come in for appointments, but this isn't allowed by right use under the guidelines that are outlined in our code. So it's just the square footage currently with the current layout of her home. The addition would be a future thing, and at that point the square footage wouldn't really be a concern because the square footage of the home would be larger. I would expect that if Fran moved forward with that too, it would look residential in nature and not something that looks commercial. And then the employee count is the other flexibility, but yeah, it's an allowed by right use in our neighborhoods.
Great, can I ask
Absolutely,
Fran, how about, tell us what your hours typically are?
Usually,
does it vary or?
A little bit of variance. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, it's been here in downtown, 8:30 to 5, but with an hour lunch. And then Wednesdays is a later day where we get started about 1:30 and we go to 6:30, 6 or 6:30.
And no weekends?
No weekends,
Okay.
never a weekend.
Okay.
I'm over that. I did
Okay.
that for a while.
Okay.
I'm exhausted at the end of the week. I typically put in 12 to 14 hours a day.
Got
And
it.
this is also to ease my having to manage 2 locations, my house by myself and then the business. And so this is a way to consolidate all that and take some of that stress off. Can I speak to the addition too? The whole point of the addition was to, move I would keep it in the like and style of my house, because I love my house. It's awesome. I would not make it look commercial at all. If anything, I would want to eventually maybe have it be plumbed and look like a mother-in-law suite. So that's, it could be converted into that easily for the next person that would buy it. That was the idea. I've been really trying to think through the long-term use of this, so that it works for multiple, it's not just somebody who would come in with a business, but maybe it's a family circumstance, so. Does that help?
Yeah, so, Greg, can I just make?
Absolutely.
So,
Go
so
ahead.
Fran, as long as you're up there, I mean, I find you very, very credible and very considerate, trying to juggle everything, trying to make everybody happy. So I do appreciate that, and I think, just my opinion, I don't know you that well, but my opinion is that whatever you say you're gonna do it. That's my feeling.
That's where I am.
I had a question, Lisa. The conditional use permit belongs to the present owner and doesn't get transferred to future owners. Is that true?
So this is not a conditional use permit, this is a GDP, so it's a request for a change to the zoning regulations. It's, home occupations, again, are allowed by right, so it's not a conditional use, it's just a change to kind of the regulations for these home occupations. Typically, we tie either conditional use permit or GDP to the property, and it's recorded either through an ordinance or through a conditional use agreement, depending on, what the approval is. There have been instances where we do tie it to a business because it's a unique circumstance, and because of the nature of the business and the nature of the request, you want to limit it to somebody who in a business that seems like, in this case, a better fit for a neighborhood than potentially somebody else coming in and asking for the same thing. So that's something we could certainly look at doing in this case, it would be an ordinance, a GDP for just these specific changes she's looking for, and it could be tied just to her business, or it could have a time limit where it expires after 20 years or something like that too.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions? Just a minute, ma'am. Just a moment. I can't do this yet, so go ahead.
Did you was there a mechanism to do anything like this through conditional use, or did we have to go to a rezone to fit these particular needs?
I think in SR4, there's really not a lot of commercial uses that are allowed except for home occupation. So that's kind of the route I decided to go. We have done this in a different circumstance for signage for Culver's and for the Ready Set downtown. We had 2 drive-through signs. We had a lit sign, and just the way that our zoning code is written right now, that was the easiest way to kind of ask for those special circumstance approvals. So we've done it in that case. I'm hoping we can make some changes to our code that maybe allow a little bit more flexibility or a little bit less of a clunky process to go through for these smaller type requests.
Okay.
I didn't think we could put a sunset clause or sunset time limit on a project. 'Cause I thought that we
I
ran
don't-
into that in the past where.
Yeah, I thought there was
Yeah.
something in the
Yeah.
statutes that didn't allow that.
There's, with certain uses, if they are, so like conditional uses, a daycare, for example, I think in every zoning district requires a conditional use permit. If a daycare closes down for more than 12 months and somebody new comes in, they would have to apply for a new conditional use permit. So I think as long as maybe a commercial home occupation use would continue, you know, I could talk to our attorney too before if you wanted to put a sunset clause in there. I think tying it to a business, that's kind of how we've done it in the past, and then we move back towards tying it to a property, just saying that, well, if someone's agreeing to adhere to these conditions and limit, you know, their business hours or the number of employees, then as long as anyone's fine with, you know, adhering to those conditions, it shouldn't matter if it's a hair salon or a chiropractor or an acupuncturist. It should have the same, you know, impact to the property. But of course, a lot of it depends on who's running the business.
I'm not sure we'd have to worry about a sunset. Anybody else have any questions?
Jeff, thank you for bringing up the street view. Is it possible to bring up an aerial view of the neighborhood?
Yeah, I just
It
looked at
sounds to me like the biggest concern is parking. And I would think that, from what was said, 3 clients max at a time, the driveway can handle the clients. And I would think that in the neighborhood, if you had 2 employees, you could ask them to park a block away, and it wouldn't be an issue.
And I'm also at the end of the court or the beginning of the court, so it's not like I'm drawing cars down, you know, into the cul-de-sac. And at the very beginning, top of the,
Yeah, the street that intersects the cul-de-sac, Jeff, is parking allowed on that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Soden
It's
Drive.
on
So there's plenty of room
Right.
there.
Yeah, there is.
Could I just mention, one of the employees lives on the court
Yeah.
and is going to have one of the other employees park at the end of your driveway. So we don't anticipate really any clients or employees most of the time parking in the street at all. We kind of try to account for that.
It's kind of
Well,
hard
we
to see
gotta
because
get through
there's
this.
so many mature trees back in that area.
Yeah, gotta wait till the leaves go down, then you get a better view.
Let me, what I could
I
do
just,
is
to see better, that's all.
do this, and so that's looking down the street right there.
That's Healer, yeah. that
So
house
that's
looks-
Fran's house on the
Right,
left.
I see the house.
Oh.
And
Now you
then-
got it, now you got it? Yeah, I had to look it up.
Now
I
we're
had to
going
look it up
back,
on my
we're going
Quest
back.
to see it. Now I got it.
And there's enough room on Haler to park.
It's pretty narrow.
It's 26 feet wide. Haler Court's kind of an unusual street. It's, right? I mean, all you neighbors, we love it, but, I mean, it's a beautiful, nice, close neighborhood and that type of thing. It's makes it a little challenging at times for services, but we do make it work, year after year. But it is 26 feet side to side, which would allow parking, and I know there's some concern of like, we're having to weave around, and for such a small dead-end street like that, that wouldn't be any major concern. I think, you know, and honestly, in a situation like this, usually, let's say we had just the king mother of all snowstorms, 20 inches. For one thing, you wouldn't be having patients anyhow, and then you would not be having patients park on the street because you knew that it wouldn't get plowed out. So, those are the kind of things, and that's where I think maybe tying it to the business is a little more easy. I mean, this is tough. I mean, I think in Danette's letter I read today, you know, you kind of say, okay, well, you allow this, what else do you allow? Those are good questions. However, I think, you know, when you're looking at the business and what it's generating, what you don't want is a home business that literally upends a neighborhood.
Right.
Okay, and that's why we do have the conditions in the home occupation.
Can't have your bulldozer and your excavator and your,
Right.
you know, everything.
Right, you can't have big signs out, you can't have delivery trucks coming and going and all that type of stuff,
Right.
so. But it is very much catered to these, you know, a lot of them are accountants, that do small in-home daycare couple people are, you know, watching 1 or 2 kids, that type of thing.
All right, well, we still have a public hearing going, so what, I did see one hand come up, and so we'll go back to public comments, so if you, ma'am, if you want to make your comment then, before we proceed farther.
Yeah, I noticed that the thing that you had up earlier, hers was downsized from what was mailed. She had previously stated that she was going to convert 3 of her 4 bedrooms to clinic rooms, 2 for acupuncture and massage and 1 for consultations and office space. Her living room would become the reception area, and patients would have use of the bathroom. That's a lot more than 35% of her home. That's almost, you know, to me, that's like 70% of your home. It would be her kitchen, her bedroom. And she must have 2 baths, I don't know, that she would have her own personal bathroom, but that's a lot of space. And then she says her long-term goal is to add an addition on the house that would serve as a clinic with bathroom, waiting room, laundry if needed, and 3 or 4 rooms. I don't know. She's looking at her long-term plan. I think she's downplaying it tonight a little bit to get this to go through. I mean,
She has every right to build on to the house as long as she meets the setbacks. There's
But-
nothing
okay.
that restricts her to do that.
okay, but you're talking about these sunset, I don't know what the sunset thing is,
No.
but maybe her plan to be revisited every so many years because of her growth. And I know that she has been advertising. My friend has a coupon from her for services. She's
Okay.
trying to grow her business.
That's her business.
Yeah,
and
I
that's not-
understand that,
Whoa,
but-
Whoa, slow down. We're
I
going to
un-
keep this calm.
I understand,
Thank
but
you.
she's trying to grow her business, and she's trying to expand it. And it's going to, you know, it's going to be more and more people, and she'll have more and more employees with the more clients, or whatever you want to call them, coming to her home. So this is, you know, the expansion's there, and it's, you know, that's her plan. She wants to expand it. She just doesn't want to pay for her rent downtown. And I can understand that. I've had home businesses before, and it's very expensive, and it's hard to do. But I just heard the neighbor saying that she does chiropractic. What's from them to not build something off-site and do a holistic type clinic
I
together?
don't know, ma'am, I'm not sure where we're going with this, but let's.
Well,
I think
I'm
you've
just
already- you
saying
had your
that there's
3
other,
minutes.
I'm just saying there's other options.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Couple things to clarify, and things for the planning commission to consider too. So,
I see your hand, ma'am.
there can certainly be a limit on, you know, the number, if you guys wanted to put a limit on the number of non-resident employees. Again, with any addition, everyone has the right to build, expand their home as long as they meet setback requirements and things. It doesn't matter. Again, home occupation is allowed by right, so make your home larger, you could potentially have a larger business, and it makes sense that a business owner would want to grow their business for whatever reasons, you know, she wants to be here. But I think we should be careful here with the public hearing, because I think most of the speakers went over their 3 minutes.
Yes, they have.
So just want to
Well,
make sure we
and-
get
but
to our
with
other items.
understanding
too.
that we as the plan commission usually are pretty lenient about some of this. So we're gonna, one more time, ma'am, you had your hand up. You can have a couple more minutes, please. Yeah, okay, and then we're gonna, yeah, okay.
Yes, the way I looked at it, I didn't get in on the beginning of the meeting when Franny was talking, but the way I looked at it, I could see a potential for 10 people needing places to park, 4 employees, and I figured 3 people in the waiting, or in her office or in her rooms, but as those people are there, there's gonna be 3 more people probably coming. They're not gonna be like 3 there, they leave, and then 3 more come. I think there's gonna be 3 that follow, you know, and she's gonna wanna expand her business, and I just see the potential for this going through And then we're left holding the bag on this.
Well, I understand that, but again, you're looking in the future and you are
Correct.
anticipating it, and it may not happen. So let's not necessarily make our decisions on what may or may not happen. We have to talk
Yes.
about what is happening, okay?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. One more time, and then,
This is a new speaker.
New speaker.
why not?
Yep, up front. Sit down.
This is all, that's why we come down here once a month. We have this.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on this, but hi, my name is Chris Modaff, Modaff, and I live at 820 North Perry Parkway. I was kind of coming tonight just to be support for Fran, but after just hearing people talk, I felt like I needed to just speak for just a couple minutes. I've known Fran for over 14 years. 8 of those years were as a neighbor. I lived right across the street from her on the corner of Haler Court and Soden Drive, so I know that area very well. I know Fran's house very well. I've been in her house many, many times. So I'm kind of coming here as an old neighbor of the neighborhood, as a friend, but also I have one of my kids who sees Fran, and he drives from Madison to come and see her. So I know about her as a practitioner, her wisdom, her expertise, her integrity, her spending hours with her clients. So I know one of her staff lives right next door to her too. So I mean, just hearing about the driving, my kitchen used to look out right to Fran's house. I can't imagine more than like 3 cars at a time, even there. I've been in her house. I know the layout of how it will be, and 2 clients at a time, you know, most likely would be there. I think about when I lived in that neighborhood, I had teenagers, and I probably had more cars sitting on Haler Court than what Fran will for her business, and I never had a single neighbor. Some of these women back here that never complained, and also I had 3 dogs, and, you know, I never had any complaints. I know Fran just as a person. She is a woman of character and of integrity. Her house is meticulous. It is like Better Homes and Garden homes. So as for how she maintains her property, her care of her neighbors, her concern, I honestly can't see any issue at all. I have friends of mine who have businesses in their homes and daycares, and they have far more cars than what Fran would have at her home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Fran, you want to talk one more time? Yes.
So just to offer a little bit of perspective on where I am with my career, I'm not interested in expanding. I've been in this for 15 years. I'm level. I don't need to expand anymore. I'm just looking to keep what I have right now. I don't need to expand. I'm fine with where I am. I just need to cut my expenses and bring that down, and I'm covering everything. So this is not about expansion. This is about just keeping what I have right now. Does that help?
Yep,
Okay.
understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's speculation, so, thank you.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. 'Cause I don't see any other comments. Move on to discussion of possible recommendation of the village board for the GDB plan. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong thing, excuse me. We're going to move on and discuss possible recommendation of the village board for a general development plan for 221 Haler Court. Plan Commission, comments? Concerns? Go ahead.
To me, when I look at this, and after hearing everybody's conversation, it still boils down to the 2 flexibilities that are being asked. And that is the increase of the amount of floor space and the flexibility for the number of employees. Knowing that one of her employees is also a neighbor and is willing to allow the other employee to use her driveway as a parking stall, and having to work on faith with the number of ops that she has, or treatment rooms, and the number of clientele that she sees in a day, and her hours of operation that normally happen when we don't really consider neighborhood. Most of us are gone. And the one flexibility on that would be a Wednesday evening. So I don't, as I said, I don't have a problem with what you're doing, and I candidly do not have a problem with the flexibilities that are being requested, even with an addition, because it's within her right. And ma'am, I apologize, I don't know your name. If you don't do more public speaking, you should. That was well done.
Yes, it was very well.
By the way, I am home most of the time. I'm a homeschooler, and I
No. I'm home too, I'm retired. Some days.
Greg, can I make a motion,
Absolutely.
please? I want to make a.
Yeah, make a motion, go
I
ahead.
want to make a motion to approve.
I'll
second it.
Give it to Larry.
We have a second by Mr. Marr. Is there any discussion?
Greg?
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am.
Not for my tea. Can I clarify if you all would like the ordinance worded that it is tied to this particular business or the property? Just if this moves forward to the board, I want to make sure I word that.
I would
properly.
feel, my preference would be tied to the business.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Is that acceptable to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll make that part of the motion. Okay, so we have a motion, and a second, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. You still have to go to the village board.
And we have an SIP technically, so.
Yeah, yes.
It's really her layout, the site
Yes,
plan.
so we move on to item 7E, which is review and consider approval of the SIP plan, which is specific implementation, forget it, SIP plan. 221 Haler Court, again, applicant is Pivotal Point Acupuncture and Wellness LLC. Let's review it.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have
I'll
a second?
second.
You have a
Second,
second.
Who was that? Randy?
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on now to the public hearing under 7F. Public hearing to discuss and consider recommendation of village board for a conditional use permit to allow in-vehicle sales and service in the planned business zoning district at parcel number 050912403551 Janesville Street. The applicant is Quick Trip LLC. We'll open a public hearing at this time. Staff report, please.
All right, so we brought this forward, I think at least once, maybe twice, in concept review for a new Quick Trip next to the, across from the existing Quick Trip on Janesville Street and next to the new Prairie Brook apartments. This is on that commercial site that was carved out of a larger CSM, and there's currently some vacant duplexes and a fourplex there on the site. Quick Trip is proposing a new convenience store here. The original plan was to have a car wash stall in the back, and due to some site constraints, grading, and just wanting to make sure that there was no disturbance of residential properties nearby, the car wash has been removed from this plan, and Quick Trip's plan is to actually, once this new store would be built, demolish their existing store on Janesville Street and then build a freestanding car wash with a couple of stalls there, and those plans are forthcoming in the next couple of months, I assume. In the planned business zoning district, which this site has been rezoned as, an in-vehicle use, so the gas station, the pumps does require a conditional use permit. The convenience store use is called indoor sales and service, and that's allowed by right, so that's not called out here. But I believe we have someone from Quick Trip here to kind of walk us through the plans, but they did provide us with a landscape plan that was just updated in the packet yesterday, and then some further renderings, site plans. So I'll have you come up, introduce yourself, and kind of walk us through the plans, and then happy to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Brad Fry, 1813 Kramer Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin, and Director of Retail Construction for Quick Trip. So I thank you for the opportunity here to present our project of relocating our existing store across Janesville Street to the north. What this allows us to do is upsize the size of our store. Our current Generation 3 store, which this would be, is about a 9,100 square foot store with all of the current offerings that the existing store has, but with an expanded floor plan. The site would also have 8 dispensing units out in front of the store and extensive landscaping throughout. Again, this is a great opportunity for us to take an existing business that was across the street that we have outgrown and grow it relatively in the same neighborhood. So, this shows the current site plan, and I think, at least if we could just maybe show the rendering of the landscape plan,
You want the landscape plan?
the building renderings.
Oh, yeah, let me get to those.
Got him here.
97, there we go.
Yeah, and
That's
this
a
would show a bird's eye view, looking from the intersection at Janesville Street northeast. And then the next plan would be a closer view of what the store would look like. Again, this is our current Generation 3 store, which we have been building here for the last 3 years. And then the next plan would show the floor plan canopy. That's the floor plan there. Proposed canopy. The 3D rendering of the building, all 4 sides. And then the overall landscape plan.
All brick, right?
All brick, correct, yep.
Metal roof?
All brick with a green metal roof. And then all of the mechanical units that are on the roof are screened by the parapet roof, so you wouldn't see anything from the street.
I know,
That took the wind out of your sails right there, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big old bathtub, I've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I thank you for the opportunity to present this rebuild project for us, and would be open to any questions.
Go ahead.
So Brad, this isn't related to the stuff in the packet, but I've been getting a lot of questions about timing. And I don't wanna hold you to it, but you have any timeline? Assume you get everything sort of approved through the
We
village.
do, we would like to have this project done yet this year.
And how about the car wash? Can you
So
speak
the
to that?
car wash, again, isn't part of our presentation here.
Yeah, I know it's not.
What we'd like to do is,
They still ask.
yeah, we're currently working on getting the Alta survey done. Once we get the Alta survey done, we'll begin the civil plans and then put a packet together to present to the planning commission. I would assume that if we could get through the approvals with that project would probably start in October this fall. But that would be about the earliest I think we could get that one
Okay.
started.
All right, thank you. It'll make some people happy.
Would you tear down the first one before this one's complete?
No, we would get this store up and open and then close the existing property, so that we would always have service for the community.
We don't want to go down to 2 quick trips.
Yeah.
That's just,
Right.
that only leaves us 2.
Have to wait in line more than 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So I think the last time that we saw this was conceptual, and it would have been last month, but it's actually 2 months ago.
November.
And at that time, we had a few comments that were made by Plan Commission members. I see the truck turning radius is one of them, and that was handled inside here.
Correct.
What about lot coverage? I remember that was one. How are we on lot coverage? I saw it was 52%, but I don't know how that relates to.
Yeah, I think in planned business, 75% impervious is allowed, and then 25% pervious or green space. So with the removal of the car wash, I think we gained quite a bit of that landscape area back. So that's why we went with just a conditional use permit rather than kind of the GDP SIP route to get that request for the pavement area.
There were a couple of other things too, but time is not good
Yeah, I
for
think
me.
a lot of them were kind of just relation to the car wash,
Yeah,
the noise
noise.
concerns, the lighting. So some of that went away, and then just kind of the architectural
Yeah.
information that you provided.
And the sidewalk approach from the public sidewalk along Dranesville Street was one of the questions that came up. We were able to get that done, so we are running a sidewalk along our driveway off of Janesville.
That's right.
So that, as the public is going up and down the sidewalk, they can get there. We also do have a sidewalk connection to the adjoining property as well.
Yeah.
And the last one that I've got is I do still want to question we've got 28 parking stalls, is that right?
Yes.
And I think in an email, Elise, you had said that it was 23 bed in the square footage. Is there another allowance in there then for employees?
That, the in-vehicle sales and service, it accounts for the employees and the customers, so it doesn't call out spaces for employees. It's just one space for every 400 square foot of the store space. So I think it's a 9,000 some odd square foot store, and then, yeah, divided by 400, it rounded up to, I think, 23 spaces. So they're a little over for that, and then the parking for the pumps is kind of a different use, and
Correct.
typically people aren't re-parking after they pump. I mean, it happens occasionally, but.
Yeah, so on top of the 28 parking stalls, we have 16 service stalls, which would be the 8 dispensers. You can park 2 cars on both sides of the dispenser. And typically, when you park your car and you fuel, you leave your car there when you go in and purchase products. So on top of the 28 stalls, we would have 16 service points.
Okay. I guess it seems a little high to me. I wouldn't mind seeing a few of them be removed, but if that's what Plan Commission is comfortable with knowing this number, we seem to have gotten some pushback for this many parking stalls on other projects, so it would only seem right for us to have some of them removed from this one. But I guess I defer to other people on the commission. I do know, in my opinion though, I do see the 2 amenities that you've got for the tables, and there's no real good access to them except walking across the parking lot, and they're kind of far away from, they're at a good place, I guess, for benches and stuff.
Is it back here?
But I don't know, I don't think they're gonna get used. Save a couple of $1,000, take them out. I don't have a problem with getting rid of them.
They do get used quite a bit in our current stores, and it not the prime location, but with the constraints of this site, it gave a pretty nice location next to the parking stalls.
Well,
And-
I would agree with you that they're gonna get used. I think that they would probably get used if there was a proximity to the front door. So if you wanted to lose a couple of parking stalls up front and move those closer to the front entry, I would be all on board with that. It's sort of like a way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, make them more pleasant as a feature, and then lose a couple of parking stalls.
You're thinking like right somewhere around here, John, is what you're thinking,
Sure.
right?
The concern that I would have about losing parking stalls is, compared to other sites that we construct, 28 stalls is not enough. We will have 8 to 10 employees working at a time, and if you had 28 parking stalls and you took 10 of those away, we're now down to 18.
But you also just said that you got 16
Service
stalls,
points.
Service
Yeah,
points.
but we typically like to be 40 to 50 on parking stalls plus service points. So if we took a few of these stalls away or took a whole row of these stalls away, I would be concerned that we would not have enough parking.
I hear you.
Do you have, well, to your points though, do you have any locations where you'd have those tables similar to that?
We do on our expanded Generation 3 store, we actually have a side vestibule. So we'd have a front entrance and we would have a side entrance. And when we had enough space to be able to do a side entrance, the picnic tables are alongside the building.
Alongside the building,
Yeah,
right? But I mean,
but due to the site constraints with this one, we really needed to maximize our parking as much as we could, so that's why we went with the store that did not have the side entrance.
Okay.
Because I would be concerned about losing parking stalls at 28 stalls.
Okay, but again, you do believe though that those tables will be used?
Those tables will be used. Yeah, and other facilities, if we look at a travel center, where we have semi-parking, and we put picnic tables next to where the semis park, and those tables do get used.
Okay.
Should we move to the public hearing?
I'm getting through this. I gotta get on to see if we have any public comments.
Okay.
Is there any public comments from anybody in the audience? None. Well, go ahead.
We
Go
do.
ahead.
We do.
I'm sorry, we do.
Kurt Keller would like to speak on this topic.
Well, certainly, come on up. I apologize.
Thank you. My name is Kirk Keller. I'm a licensed architect. I work for Plunkett Rasich Architects. I live at 1717 Camelot Drive, Madison, Wisconsin, for a long time. And it's kind of a unique position that I'm here tonight representing Pine Cove Apartments, adjoining property, but I'm also speaking in favor of the project. So it's a unique mix that way. Usually you have to, adjoining properties have you know, disputes or issues to be taken care of. We have sent ahead a letter with a number of items that, to Ms. Cruz, that we asked for consideration, but there are 3 at the beginning of the letter that I specifically wish to speak to and ask the Plan Commission to consider as part of the agreement for this project.
Here we go.
This should be in the packet.
If I may, continue?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't know if you were going to treat it as part of the staff report or something.
No, I
but-
just pulled it up
No,
there.
he was
Thank you
just
very
scrolling
much.
to your letter.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I understand from the previous speaker and from the comments of the council that a landscape plan was updated as of yesterday, so we were not allowed to, we didn't see that, so we do make comment there that we're looking for at least the minimal points that are maintained along, you know, required by the village, but to consider also the seasonal coverage, maybe exceeding the points along the property line. We included a document where we might consider asking for a fence that as exists at similar Quick Trip properties. This is Mount Horeb. I think of it as #1 store, one of the earliest stores that was developed. So we're looking for a screening between the back of the property and the adjacent apartments, the new apartments, as well as Pine Cove Apartments, to benefit both. Secondly is the exterior lighting. That to make certain that the lighting package is reviewed for any night sky requirements, cutoffs, you know, views into the property, since that wasn't specifically, the photometrics were not reviewed, to that to be reviewed and approved. And then finally is just, and it had been confirmed tonight here, but I put it in the letter, it's just confirmation that the car wash is not an intended part of the approval here. All the remaining items on the rest of the pages are just comments to Ms. Cruz and, you know, just a consideration as you, you know, finalize any review comments on the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? We got a visitor here. Okay, we will close the public hearing. Move along to discuss our discussion possible recommendation of village board for a conditional use permit for Quick Trip Incorporated.
Just a couple points to the concerns or points raised by Mr. Keller. If I'm remembering correctly, I think in terms of fencing versus landscaping, the Planning Commission has generally veered towards having landscaping serve as the buffer because fencing does deteriorate over time, as we know. And I think from the residents that I've heard from, which has mostly been from the Prairie Brook apartments, I expect there would be a lot of foot traffic from the folks that live nearby. I think this is a nice amenity to have some grocery options and you know, employment and other things right at their doorstep. So I would imagine a lot of people, you know, trying to access the property. There was a photometric plan included and I believe a couple cut sheets for your lighting, but the photometric plan did meet all of our cutoffs for the half-foot candle around the property. And yeah, I think that was all the
It's all
points
straight.
I wanted to cover.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you're indicating that the landscaping and buffer screening to the Pine Cove Apartments has been met with the latest version, or?
So I don't think the landscaping plan changed. It's just, we just got that color rendering added yesterday into the packet or this morning. So no change to the landscape plan. This is just showing kind of in a color version what those plants would be, you know, during the spring, summer, fall, during leaf out. But it does meet our landscaping requirements for points, anything above and beyond. Nope, I think we're talking about the screening behind the store.
Is that in a packet?
Yep, it's the landscape plan, just added in the.
I can't really tell by the
Yep.
property lines on here where Pine Cove starts.
There
and
over
you know,
Yeah,
where
it's
the
actually
opportunities
kitty,
for
it's kitty
screening are.
corner, kind of kitty corner from the back of the store, so.
There's really only a little corner that kind of connects to that property.
Right, it's that larger Prairie Brook, 71 unit building, that's that parking lot that's directly behind, the store that you see there on the plan.
So,
Go ahead.
Elise, so is the current landscaping plan, in your opinion, is adequate for the screening that we're talking about?
Yes,
or not?
yeah,
Okay.
it meets our requirements. I mean, if you all wanted to require anything above and beyond that, that would be, in addition to our requirements.
Okay.
So it will screen from Pine Cove Apartments, but not the new Prairie Brook Apartments.
Right.
There's a lot of, looks like there's a lot of vegetation. So this is that parking lot that you see.
Mhm.
And then, if I
It gets a
understand,
bit
the
downhill.
back of the building will be about here, I think.
Yeah, I think there is some slope to that site too, so the store would
Yeah,
be,
this is
set down quite a bit from that parking lot for the apartments.
Yeah, there's a lot of screening
Right
there.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Anybody else, any questions, more discussion? I think they've probably done their job pretty well.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I will make one contingency, or request, that 2 parking stalls be removed and replaced with an area for the picnic tables at a location of their preference.
All right.
Can shoot it down.
No, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move on to the site plan. Review and possible approval of the site plan for parcel number on Janesville Street. Applicant is Quick Trip LLC. I think we pretty well talked this over. Do we have a motion to approve the site plan?
So moved.
So, second.
We have a second, Mr. Meyer. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Driving all the way down from La Crosse. I got it.
Drive safe.
Okay, we'll move on to 7B, review and possible recommendation to the village board of a preliminary plat for the second addition to Autumn Ridge Phase 3, Hoffer Development.
All right, so you all saw this last time, and I saw your eyes kind of glaze over, a couple of you. I won't name any names, but it's a big plan, lots of changes proposed over on the southeast side of the village here with Foxborough and Autumn Ridge expansion. A couple of updates since that November meeting. The developer, Glenn Hofer in the back here, his company, they've decided to just move forward at this point with approvals for phase 3 only, for annexation, platting, stormwater management review, zoning approvals, things like that. We are planning on doing our CARPC urban service area amendment application for both phases 3 and 5. Phase 4 is actually already in the urban service area. It's just as much work to do one phase versus 2, and CARPC kind of likes to see the holistic, systematic approach. And Glenn could speak a little bit more, or Bruce Holler, his engineer here, about kind of why they decided to go more piecemeal approach, but really it's more, I think, about just taking on bit by bit, reducing risk with the market, interest rates, making sure that housing sales, he doesn't get too far ahead of himself, and planning kind of long-term for those changes for the golf course to move from an 18-hole course to a 12-hole course. So tonight in front of you, we have the preliminary plat and then an initial stormwater management plan. They have also already submitted their annexation petition, so that'll be going to the board later this winter. And I think that's it. We did have a letter from the engineer, and he has sent an updated letter since then. I didn't get it in the packet, but all the comments have been addressed at this point for the preliminary plat. I'll hand it over to Bruce and Glenn, and
Yeah,
you guys,
go
do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? Is this on? Okay. Just what Elise said.
That's where you pay him the big bucks for that.
That's
claim.
right. See?
Right there.
Done. No.
You want to talk through, I guess, also the duplex lots, and I don't know if that was noted on the last preliminary
Yeah,
plat and
so,
kind of the
okay, so in
ponding.
front of you tonight is the next step in our process of subdividing this property. And, as Elise alluded to, there are a handful of lots in this plat that are set aside to be duplex. If you have the map in front of you, lots 100, 100.
No, 103, 104, 105, 106,
104.
107,
Yeah, 3 through 8.
3 through 8, and 91.
Okay.
Right? Is that?
Well, the preliminary plat has different lot numbers, but we've got.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So we've got 100 through 105, which are not, recently the duplex have, the term has been kind of become what we call a twin home, where we've got the common lot line.
Zero lot line.
Between, the common walls. So that's what this allows for, is individual ownership for each side of the duplex. I think we're still, Glenn, are we still keeping 88 as a duplex? Which one in the corner, or is that?
I think it's gonna probably, doesn't work very well at all after I got more information from Elise on the setbacks, the front and rear setback. There's a nice duplex, I wanted the copy was done on Fahey Fields, on Fahey Glen Road in Fitchburg. But it's, both units would virtually have no backyard, would just be a side yard. So, when we go to final plat on this, I think we're gonna convert that to a single family lot.
So that would leave 6 duplex lots, well, 3 duplexes, but 6 lots for them. I don't know that did we receive any comments from Rupert Milkie on the stormwater management or preliminary engineering plans? I don't know that I've seen them.
I think I just saw the ones in the plat.
Yeah, just on the plat, not on the stormwater management
Right.
yet. That's something we are looking at a little closer on this one.
Right.
Understandably.
Yeah, so it's just a continuation of, like I said, the following steps, the next steps for our land division.
Let's see. Well, what do you guys think? Questions?
I know the last time we saw this, there was a request to sort of see the big picture, which you presented to us.
Right.
And I guess the staff, I have a question for you in that, are you comfortable enough with the flexibilities and amenities or answers that are provided here for the big picture solution for us to be comfortable to approve the preliminary plat?
We are, we've met at length with these guys at several planning staff meetings, and then again internally a couple times. I think what we'll be doing in kind of this incremental approach is, taking a really careful look at each development agreement for each phase and making sure that, in this case, we'll need to update a sanitary sewer study, capacity study. So there'll be a separate, deposit requested for that. There'll be a traffic study done, which will, I think, actually look at the future impact of phases 3 through 5, just in terms of how do we treat that Foxborough intersection in a long term, and at what point should, a light or something like that go in. There's also a sanitary sewer connection to Hawthorne Park, which we kind of talked through last time. So there would be a sanitary sewer easement that lands actually in the town of Rutland, but we have easements in towns right now on Phil Peterson's property and elsewhere. So that'll be recorded, as well as likely a stormwater management path through kind of the phase 5, that side of the golf course, just to indicate that right now that water would just be flowing along its natural and current path, that series of ponds there. It's certainly a lot more work and probably a little bit more money on Glenn's end to do things incrementally, more agreements, more legal time. But if this is the approach he wants to take, we're comfortable with doing it. It'll just be a lot of dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? Sounds like staff is in approval of this particular preliminary plat. So we need then a motion to recommend the village board approval of the preliminary plat for the second addition to Autumn Ridge Phase 3, applicant Huffer Development. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'd make that motion.
Mark.
Do we have a second? Okay, Scott. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We're getting there.
Oh, we are. Item I, review and consider recommendation to village board certified survey map of parcels at 870, 880 North Main Street, Accent Apartments LLC.
So this is the last step for Adam Coyle's project in terms of planning approvals, but there are a couple smaller lots here that need to be combined before that apartment project can move forward. I know he's been working with the DNR to get some of the abatement done for some contamination there, and I'm guessing he's going to wait till spring here to do some of that site work and get the foundation in. But been keeping in touch with Adam, and this was just one last loose string to tie up to get these parcels combined.
All right. So we need a motion of village board recommending approval of the certified survey map, parcels 870 and 880 North Main Street.
I'll move, Greg.
We have a
Get it
motion,
on
do we have a
the table.
second?
Second.
We have a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, thank you. No other new business. Status of developments and projects.
Do you have any questions? It's kind of a cold time, and we're not much going on.
You have no prepared statement?
You know me, I'm never prepared.
What is your favorite color?
What is
Yes.
your favorite color?
Peter Pie.
Yeah.
All right, so
No, things
you're
are
you're
fine.
not prepared to make a statement, that's
I
obvious.
can make a statement if
Yeah,
you would
you can
like.
make, yeah.
Or we could go home.
Okay. No, okay, upcoming meeting dates, February and March. I'll see if I can't find a time to go on vacation, we'll see. Staff meetings are agendas. See that? That was back from 22, okay.
Yep.
Items for future, nothing we can see right now, okay. Looks like we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Joey, I have a question for you, and maybe you may or may not know this. How far back does the Village of Oregon